It's waving at the camera, which means we're probably live. So, a very exciting run coming up by Jaxler1 and commentary by Jackalaka. It's the Spongebob Squarepants movie. And it's a very exciting run, a very big game from my childhood, so I can't wait to see a speed run of it. Before we get started, just a quick donation that we have here $20 from Mi Nombre es Yef. ESA, I'm so glad you decided to do this event. Much love. I have no idea what to donate, so I guess it looks like Catherine needs more Catherine. Good luck to all the runners. So, thank you for donating, and now, a special announcement for those watching from the YouTube VOD. If you are enjoying these runs, then we have set up a Tiltify campaign for between events that you can donate to Save the Children for, so you can check the link in the description for more. But with that being said, over to you, Jaxler. Good luck.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everybody. My name is Jaxler, and this is going to be a speedrun of the Spongebob Squarepants movie Any Percent. Like mentioned, Jackalaka, the legend, is going to be joining me on commentary for this.
Yo, what's up? Thanks for having me, Jax.
Of course. So this might have been a bit of a head scratcher when you saw it on the schedule. This game is actually a 3D platformer that's sort of the loose spiritual successor slash follow-up game to SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, which has a pretty big following in the speedrunning community as of late. But if you know anything about that game's speedrun, I would just politely set that aside for right now, because a lot of the speed tech that you're going to see in this run is much different from that game. Alright, so before we get into the actual run, I want to mention a couple of things off the start. This run is being performed on the Xbox version of the game. We'll explain a bit more about why later on into the run when it becomes more relevant. On top of that, time starts when I press A here. We're going to be turning autosave off, because every time we grab the main collectible of a Goofy Goober token, it'll cause a little bit of extra lag when it tries to autosave. So we're going to be shutting that off for the course of the run. But other than that, I think we're pretty set to go. So I'll count us in from 3, and then we'll start time on go, okay? 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, good luck on the run, Jax.
Right. Whew. Alright, so first off, we're loading into No Cheese. So this is based off roughly the first movie in SpongeBob. And so No Cheese sort of serves as a tutorial level based off like the intro scene of the movie. The first thing you need to know is a abuse called slope jumping. Essentially, there's weird rounded bits of collision and invisible ledges in this game, where if I brush up beside them, like right there, I can actually get my double jumps back. And that's a small instance right there, but you'll see it get abused frequently throughout the run. But we'll come back to that later. Right here, I'm going to run up against the slide and use the speed buildup in order to cross this canyon and save about 15 seconds. That was a little scuffed. Right here, going to break these crates so I can go briefly out of bounds here. Spin, double jump, spin. That gives me extra distance, and I can cross the canyon, which is not normally intended. That saves like 20 seconds in a cutscene and some platforming. Jack, can you explain token warping?
Yeah, so the Goofy Goober tokens are the main collectible, and they have a special property where on the first 2 frames in which you actually obtain the token, you can actually enter the pause menu, and that actually has the benefit of being able to skip the token animation in most cases, and save a little bit of time there. It actually also skips a cutscene if you can warp immediately to I'm Ready Depression, because there's one that comes after No Cheese, but that's gonna help throughout the run. And Jax is going for a trick called Chocolate Creek Skip, where it's kind of like an abuse of the coyote frames in this game, where you walk off a ledge and you have a few frames after you're like technically off the ground where you can still input a double jump. If you extend it with a spin like he did at the end of No Cheese, you can gain a lot of distance and grab onto that ledge. By doing a damage boost jump onto the buttons, you can hit all of them in one go, and then just like activate the Chocolate Creek challenge. Normally you would, like as it says right there, you would need the Sonic Wave guitar in order to actually do the challenge, but we just did it with just a couple jumps and a damage boost.
Yeah, that trick is an early run killer and really hard. So 3rd try is not ideal, but we'll take it for a marathon setting. Alright, let's see if I can get the token more.
Super solid. Oh,
Early.
I thought you were just gonna go for it.
No, I'm not going for it. I'm not crazy. So I tried to. You're gonna see me go for token warps throughout the run here. Something I did before I started the actual Chocolate Creek was walked over to the left to activate a warp point. There's a lot. You have the ability in the pause menu to warp to different challenges in the game, and we're gonna abuse that a lot to save time on backtracking, movement, platforming, etc. So, with the token warp, that would have saved a little extra time, but not a huge deal. The other big reason why doing Chocolate Creek early was so important was to have enough tokens to unlock this new ability called Cartwheel. Now we're going to get a bit more into detail about the movement for Patrick later, but it's really important to have this right now so we can access this token over here, which is hidden behind these breakable walls. So I should get an upgrade point right here. We're going to upgrade the Cartwheel move we just got. Don't worry about that. We'll explain that in a little bit. There's a lot going on here at the start. That was early. We're trying to hit these token warps, but again, it's a 2-frame window.
Yeah, and then like after Ounce of Bounce, we just like warp back to the beginning of the level. Like I'm Ready Depression kind of wraps around back to the beginning. It goes kind of in a circle. And if you use really precise jumps on that ice cream cone lamp, you can jump up to this railing on a weird piece of collision and just jump straight to the end level. I was about to say end level happiness object. But we're in movie right
Wrong
now.
game.
Yeah, just jump to the like level ending Goofy Goober token.
Spongebob.
So that was still a really solid depression.
Yeah, that ending was really good. I'll take that after third try Creek early. But now we're coming into the first of a couple of driving levels in the game. The Paddy Wagon actually controls kind of interestingly, to put it lightly. First of all, you'll see all these nitros here, and as you might guess, they're kind of like mushrooms from the Mario Kart games where they give you a bit of a speed boost. And you can use that to boost over terrain and stuff, but the way that you actually apply that is really kind of weird because this game's driving mechanisms are kind of jank. So the premise of top speed in this game for driving is that you're moving at top speed when you are undamaged and you are just going in a straight line. So turning causes you to slow down, off terrain obviously slows you down, and then being damaged or mid-air also slows you down. So believe it or not, using these nitros as they're called is actually slower to use on straightaways because they don't really increase your top speed by all that much, but they have this interesting property where they allow you to maintain a higher degree of speed during turns, almost top speed even, and also while mid-air. You kind of have moon gravity on when you're driving in this game, so it's also really important to make sure that we're avoiding ramps and stuff as much as possible. But this is probably the most simple out of all of the driving levels in the run, and coming up after this level is kind of a crazy segment, so this is probably a good time to fit in 1 or 2 donations maybe.
I'm afraid we don't have any donations as of yet, but I'm sure they're coming up, so keep them coming and I'll probably read them later on in the run. I can tell you about the Catherine incentive that we mentioned before the start of the run. Currently in the lead, the character selection for 1 player and 2 player, we have Catherine and Nightmare Vincent. So these 2 characters will be played for that run, but there's so many more, so go donate and see what the options are and pick your favorites.
So yeah, this is, I guess we'll take this opportunity real quick to just talk about console differences. So like I mentioned earlier, we're playing this on Xbox. The big reason why is because of a console exclusive trick that you'll see towards the end of the run that actually saved about 20 minutes off the record. But on top of that, Xbox loading times are just much faster to GameCube and PS2. So that's the big reason we're playing on Xbox. Weirdly enough, though, if you want to be a IL speedrunner of the driving levels, you want to play on GameCube because your driving times will be a couple of seconds faster. Why? We don't know. It's probably something to do with frame rate, but that's a thing that exists.
Yeah, but like after like sandwich driving, we go straight into 3K. We unlock the bash power up where you can do like I can't think of really any analog to it in other like games, but basically you just like do an uppercut and go over here. And this brings up like a really important property of the game. by getting knocked back from something like spikes right there, the game tries to put you back to the last position where you're actually on the ground. And if you hold Y, you actually buffer the bash input for the first frame after SpongeBob's damage animation, because the frame after the damage animation ends, you're technically in a grounded state, or the game acts like you're in a grounded state, and you can do a bash, you can insert a jump to basically do a double jump to get extra height, which we'll be using in various cases throughout the run. It's a really important trick.
Yeah, so you're immediately gonna... the first ones we've done so far have been kind of tame, but this one is actually a pretty major skip. We gets us straight up to here, and breaking that rock will allow us to unlock the bungee warp in the pause menu. I'm gonna go for a 4-frame window strat here called bounceless. 1 second. Alright, that should be good.
Oh, that's like
Let's
perfect.
go. I'll explain what that did just in a second. Just keep in mind that that kind of skips a cutscene, and we'll explain after Bungee here.
Yeah, like there's various Bungee challenges throughout the like platforming levels where you just have to like hit all the targets. Although there is one glitch that we use that's similar to one in Battle for Bikini Bottom, where if you go underneath one of the targets, every time you start ascending back up to the surface, it regains your dive like immediately. So we call it like the infinite dive glitch, because like normally you'd have to go all the way back up to the top.
Yeah. Briefly before we go out of bounds, that token just appeared. Hitting that button and skipping the cutscene the way we did spawns in the token for a challenge. But we can essentially just warp back to Bungee. Also, we're out of bounds.
Yeah, that's just like a piece of collision that just doesn't exist on the water, so it allows us to just basically just continually jump under the level. And by going over to this corner, you can drop down right next to the
Slight
Patrick
photosensitivity warning for about a minute here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like this goes right next to the Pack at Steam challenge, and if we just do bash boosts on the side of the tunnel, let's go.
Let's
can
go.
get over to this like rock that allows us to clip back into the level as SpongeBob. And so we just get the token, and since we did the bounceless route, we still missed out on doing SCDA SpongeBall, the first SpongeBall challenge. And so like we do a death warp, and then do a bash boost over to the plate where we can access the warp, and that was really solid.
Yeah, the reason why doing that trick saves so much time is because by getting the token, logically the game thinks that we have visited that location in the level, so it allows us to warp there later and essentially skip past a lot of platforming in the level, so it's a really nice little time saver. These SpongeBall challenges are very cycle-based, so what I'm trying to do is meet it so I get on top of this middle block over here, and if I do this right, I can make a really slick little cycle here.
Camera's always like sick for this. I always go straight on.
Yeah.
Oh.
This should be fine. Yeah. Oh, easy. Every day of the
There we
week.
go.
Let's go. And then I'm gonna be going for another token warp here. Token warps are kind of like how much time they say depends on the warp, but this one's pretty warp. It's fine. We'll get one eventually. I hope. But yeah, we're immediately gonna warp to Patrick at Steam right out of the challenge. Turn over to the left, and right by the entrance to Patrick at Steam, there's the floating block challenge.
Yeah, like these are just like platform-based levels where you just have a ton of blocks that you have to go on. A lot of them are like rotating or like moving around.
Yeah, extremely good at sniping your double jump.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good time to just like practice cartwheel movement.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
So,
Like
yeah,
that-
because
that-
the cartwheel movement's kind of interesting in this game because you can only start a cartwheel when you're in a grounded state. So we're trying to minimize the airtime as much as possible, and that can be really tricky because a lot of these floating blocks, if you land on them the wrong way, can actually like turn you around. Oh, okay, ledge grab. That's probably one of the better places I could have gotten a ledge grab, so this will be a little funky, but we're gonna make it work.
You're on
That should
blue
still be
dumbbell. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll just
Okay, there
jump
we go.
straight to that one. The Madman.
Gotta go all out for a marathon showing. While we're here, I just want to mention that this is actually the first time we've ever had a SpongeBob run at an ESA event, so We were gonna say this at the start, but we kind of got overwhelmed by the heat of the moment. But thank you all, everyone in the ESA community, for taking in this run. We really appreciate the opportunity. But a little bit more fun stuff at the end of this level here, real quick.
I might be a bit biased, but SpongeBob runs are pretty popular.
I agree. All right, we're out of bounds.
Yeah, that's
Sort
that
of.
arena clip. Normally, like to the right of this is an ambush fight where we have to like fight off a ton of enemies, but by doing a bash boost, we can just go along the side of the wall, and by hitting the buttons in that order, we can just like immediately get the end level token.
Yeah, I also got that ledge grabless too, which is really, really hard. If you go too far into the spikes, you'll hit a weird period of the spikes that will just send you straight up into the air instead of to a safe point, and it makes that bash boost a bit trickier than it might appear. Alright, now welcome to Rub-a-Dub. So there's a couple of slide levels in the run, and this one is fairly straightforward, but we're actually going to be doing a really cool strat that will save about a minute off the track for how simple it looks. We call it in the community dumb jump, and we call it that because one, we're creative at naming things, and two, the trick can be dumb sometimes.
It's pretty precise on where you need to do this jump from. Like if you go too high, then like it cuts your momentum and you just fall, and if you go too low, then
That was almost too far to the left. Holy cow! That was way too
scary.
close.
that's actually the third option, where you go too far to the left, but it's like too high.
Yeah. That I got away with a crime right there. The game should have just taken all my momentum right there. So getting that first try is actually going to cause some weird unloading stuff to happen later in the level. I'll try to point it out if we have time, because there's a lot of shenanigans going on coming up here. Ah, no Rocky spawn rip.
Because I essentially like skipped a target break, so
And a big cutscene. Alright, so right there I went for something called the 2-frame turnaround. On slides in this game and Battle for Bikini Bottom, because they're the same engine, essentially if you jump within 2 frames of touching down on the slide, it halts all of your momentum and you have free control on top of the slide, which is normally kind of a terrible design decision, if you would even call it that. But we can use that there because with that strat we did, we come into that slide from the wrong side, and it slows us down a lot. But with the 2-frame turnaround, we can instantly start accelerating in the opposite direction, and it saves a couple seconds if you hit it. But we'll actually be coming back to this level later to do a time trial for an extra collectible, so you'll get to see me go for that again, hopefully. But that slide jumping strat, where it's a 2-frame window to have free control on a slide, keep that in the back of your head, because in the next level of Bubble Bowling Baby Hunt, that's going to let us completely break the level wide open, so get ready for that here.
Yeah, like much like how the layout of Depression is, Bubble and Baby Hunt kind of wraps around to the beginning. You're supposed to like go through the entire level and then go down a slide, which activates a final ambush section where you have to like defeat a ton of enemies at the beginning bar. But if we like ledge grab onto this like weird collision in the slide, we can actually start doing 2-frame jumps up the slide, and if we get like up to like far enough, we can activate a trigger to trick the game into thinking we actually went through the entire level. Yeah, that should work.
I got that first try. Let's go.
Hey, those are really good.
That was really, really good. I didn't choke on something. Get like 3rd try. Let's go. Okay.
And then a ledge grab onto there. And keep in mind, like the 2 frames actually act slightly different. The first one gives you only a single jump, but the 2nd frame gives you the ability to do a double jump, so it can kind of throw you off a bit.
Yeah, you basically have to react to whether or not you have 1 or 2 jumps. That's just a bug that kind of plagues this game in Battle for Bikini Bottom, where on any surface, if you jump within a frame of landing on a platform, so that's a 60th of a second because this is a 60 FPS game, you just get your double jump sniped. And sometimes as Patrick, you'll see me cartwheel as well, just to ensure that I've been on a platform for longer than a frame or 2. Alright, so
cartwheel.
yeah. Alright, so now while we're going through this button section, coming up is one of the hardest tricks in the it's not the hardest trick in the run, but it's really, really hard. This is an actual frame perfect trick that's gonna let me My thumb just decided to not hit the X button. But here comes Disco Skip.
Yeah, because like we were talking about with bash boosting, like the first frame, we're in a grounded state after the damage animation. But right here, since we're as Patrick, we gotta do, we have to input a,
Let's go for try!
Yeah, if you input a jump on the, on that frame, you can essentially get a double jump, and that allows us to basically skip the entirety of the Disco Star objective. That was really good.
That was a gold sub split. I'm keeping track of my splits in the background just to see if I get any funky golds or something like that. That was really good.
Oh.
Something went
well.
well.
We just got the lava room.
Yeah, so this is normally like a minute-long platforming area, casually. But I'm gonna abuse the power of gravity, carry the momentum into the ice block, and you can skip all the way up here and skip the whole room. I kid you not, that maneuver saves a minute.
Yeah, and that like ice block physics are gonna like come in handy later in SCDA. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Alright, so we're coming all the way out here for a sponge ball objective, and technically speaking, we can just, because we did that strat at the beginning of the level, we can just go finish the level now if we wanted to, but it's faster to come out here and grab some tokens because some of the later game abilities require a ton of Goofy Goober tokens, like 20 and 25 later, and even 40 towards the end of the run. So we're going to need all the tokens that are quick that we can get. Now, at high level play, there's a really insanely hard strat here called Fast Corkscrew Cycle. Currently, only Purple, the world record holder, goes for this in RTA. But you can like make this really fast corkscrew cycle, not on this one, but on the next one. That's like the sort of final platforming bit before you reach the Goofy Goober token here. Obviously, because this is Marathon and I'm not a complete and utter moron, just a mild moron, I'm not gonna go for it. Probably wasn't even on pace if I wanted to.
Before Purple started doing it, I'm pretty sure Chris had only gotten it once, and Cole only got it like a couple times. Cole's a very like classic runner of the game.
Yeah, extremely old school. We'll talk a bit more about him later. But yeah, we're at the end of BBBH. That was really good.
Yeah,
Wait,
and then like,
I forgot to warp.
oh yeah.
I thought I warped. I just do it out of force of habit. Oh well, not a big deal. It's like 5 seconds an extra load. No, not even 5 seconds.
Also, like, you may be wondering, like, after slide jumps, why we didn't just get the token. But if we, like, do the rest of the level and then come back, we actually save a load because we just immediately get warped into no weenie parking. So it's just, like, better to do that than to just, like, go back to the beginning. That used to be, like, what we do in the though.
Right. Okay, so now that we're done with BBBH, I can kind of breathe a little bit. That level is so hard. And if you liked that level, trust me, there's more amazing stuff coming up right now. But we're in a bit of a slower portion of the run right now because we've got a couple of driving segments coming up here. This is no weenie parking. There's 5 keys in this level that are hidden throughout, and we need them all in order to unlock a gate right at the start of the level so we can exit. And unfortunately, we've tried, but you cannot, the trigger to exit the level doesn't load in until you have completed, quote-unquote, completed 3 laps around the track. We'll get to that in a second. But I did a cool strat at this, I've never seen him bounce off the lava thing. That's actually kind of funny. That had, like, no consequence on speed, but I just found that humorous. Anyway, I did a strat at the start where instead of taking the intended path to the first key, I just took a shortcut and then turned around, and it was still faster by several seconds. And then
the downside of that is that you don't get to go for the Jaxler1 money strat.
Yeah, that is true.
On the right side tunnel, sad day.
The slower Jaxler1 money strat.
It gets you like 500 Melia's points. Come on.
Okay, yeah, I guess that matters a bit more for other categories, but that's really not that big of a deal for this category anymore. Just because we, in the old any percent route, we used to play Bubble Bowling Baby Hunt actually backwards with a really cool strat. That's still seen in a couple of other categories, but because of this sort of 20-minute time-saving skip that we'll talk about later, It's actually slower to do that now. So a lot of strats that were in like the really old school any % routes, such as disco skip, have actually been reintegrated into the route when they were once obsolete. So kind of a cool circumstance of the routing here. But we're on our second lap and just about to finish it. I have a lot of nitros that I need to use, which is kind of funny. But we're gonna make it work here. So you're gonna see me burn all of my nitros, which kind of goes against the laws of speed that we kind of established up until this point. That's not a good slip to hit. We're good. Good save. What we're gonna do is on the third lap, this ramp spawns for the 5th and final key. We're gonna grab it and then instantly pause and warp away. What that does is as soon as we grab the last key, it sets a flag in the game's memory that says, alright, you've unlocked the gate as, you know, a grace mechanism. What we're going to do is keep it unlocked for you next time you re-enter the level. So what we can actually do is, once we're done getting a couple of backup tokens, which we'll talk about in just a sec, we can actually warp back to that level. And because the exit of the level is right at the start, we can drive straight into the gate and just skip the entire third lap of that level. It's a really funny strat. It turns out, though, the old strat we used to do, and we timed it, it's like 6 seconds slower. Once you grab the 5th key, if you really want to, you can actually just straight up turn around and go back to the exit of the level and skip the third lap that way. It's a little bit slower, like I mentioned, but in some ways funnier. The game just doesn't have like a Mario Kart mechanism where Latiku like pulls you around or anything.
Yeah, I get it. Isn't Knucklehead like the only challenge that like you actually have to go fast or else the game like actually stops you?
Sunday is the other example of that.
Oh yeah.
Well, except in time trials, but
yeah.
We'll get to those in a little bit. So we're coming back here right now because the next major upgrade that we're getting is the Sponge Bowl attack, and that comes at a hefty cost of 20 Goofy Goober tokens. If we were to keep going on our normal course, we would enter that level with 18, and you really don't want to, in most cases, enter a level with a new upgrade without the requisite Goofy Goober tokens because it'll put you into an extra loading screen or two. So we're backtracking right now just so that we can ensure that we have 20 by the time that we unlock the Sponge Ball ability. Sponge Bowl, sorry. And on top of that, it's also important that we do this right now for another kind of interesting routing reason, which is for these manliness points. So you've seen me upgrade a couple of things already, but these manliness points, once you reach, fill that bar up, you can get an upgrade point that can be spent either on one of your existing attacks or to increase your maximum health for a character. And so we've already used that twice on the cartwheel and the slam attack, and we'll explain why we did that later. But we need to make sure that we can upgrade Patrick's throw ability as soon as we unlock it in Shell City Dead Ahead, because having the upgraded throw lets us do some really funny glitches in that level, and it would be a shame if I weren't able to show that off. I also really don't have a backup if I don't, so wink wink. Well, that's because I'm usually over manlied anyway. So nothing too much to worry about on that front.
Pulled out 3 meter yesterday, so if worst comes to worst, you could definitely go for it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so briefly here we're gonna go back to Rub-a-Dub, and then we're gonna go back to warp to no weenie parking. So gonna exit out of here. The other reason why we do this now is because of menuing reasons. No weenie parking is 2 levels up in the menu from Rub-a-Dub, which is 2 levels up in the menu from Sandwich Driving 101. So we just have to spend less time in the menu in general. Oh, we should probably talk about this now. If you look carefully, you'll see something known as a texture glitch. So I am running this on an Xbox 360 that's backwards compatible, and normally there's not too many significant differences between doing that and running on an original Xbox. But on this game, sometimes what will happen is certain models will have the wrong texture swapped onto them. And that's something that's becomes more common the more you load in levels. To get one this early into the run is somewhat alarming, but you can see that there's some textures from the floating blocks appearing on these slides. That's a pretty minor one, although I don't think I've ever seen it from anyone before, so that's kind of cool. Dumb jump. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Texture glitch.
I got distracted by the texture glitch. You only lose like 8 seconds if you miss that, so I have like plenty of tries at this before. It's like bad TM.
and also like getting a second try, you actually get the visual of the catapult in the background that you can use for a setup. That isn't like loaded when you first try it out.
Yeah, there's also some enemies that completely unload as well, and their hitboxes are still there, but are invisible and are incredibly annoying to deal with. But because I failed dumb jump, they'll actually be there for me. But yeah, this level is pretty much the same as before, and we don't have too much to talk about right now. So, Paulster, if you have anything you want to plug right now, this would be a great opportunity for about a minute.
Well, I have a lot, and I mean a lot of donations that have come in these past 15 minutes. So let's get started. We have 2 donations from Dr. CPL British. One says, "Good luck to Jaxler. Awesome to have one of the goats of the Heavy Iron series in the form of Jakalaka on mic too. Here's to seeing many, many texture glitches." And the second goes, "Yo, I'm so hyped that TSSM actually got into another marathon. Good luck to Jaxler and Jack. I hope the game is as interesting to other people as me and many other runners find it. Also texture glitches. Some texture glitches." We then have $20 from Corundum Core. "Hey Jax, good luck from the whole Speedruns Rochester group. We know you and Jackalaka are gonna crush it." And finally, Silent Tremor with $5 from Jaxler's mod. "Let's go Ace Gang." Actually,
Hey!
I have one more. $5 again from Silent Tremor. "Let's go Jaxler, Ace Gang represent." And you guys are really pulling through. We are $35 away from 7K. Let's hit it.
Holy cow! Let's hit it before we get to now that we're men. That would be really sick if we could hit it. Thank you to everyone who's donating, by the way. All of y'all are great friends. Super shoutouts to Britt as well. Super old school movie runner and a really good friend of mine. Really appreciate you donating, buddy. Alright, and then yeah, like we mentioned before, the gate's just open for us, and we can just drive straight to the end, like we mentioned before. But now we're coming into our first boss fight in the Frogfish fight, or Mr. Whiskers. So Jack, I'll let you go take the reins on this one.
Yeah, so this is like kind of a good example of like why we need to upgrade the abilities like early on. Like this is like the first like major boss fight in the run where it has its own level, and like to do phase 1 we basically just have to go to the opposite side of the map and then just like cartwheel and like over to Frogfish once he's like off balance, and you can do the phase 1 in 2 hits if you upgrade cartwheel, and then like by ground pounding on like the ice cream cone like grandma from the movie, you can like get phase 2 and 3 done in 4 hits with an upgraded slam. And the funny thing is that her hitbox is actually active before she comes out of the ground, so if you see like based off of the texture of the ground like where she's gonna spawn in, you can like get a really early hit, which like speeds up the fight a bit. That was still pretty solid.
Yeah, I barely misplaced the slam there, but I still got the stun, so I was able to clean that up pretty smoothly. So we've got a slide level, just one more before we get into probably the most insane part of the entire run, which is mid-game, aka the gauntlet. So coming up after this level are Now That We're Men in SCDA. Oh, we gotta skip here. I should probably talk about that first.
That jumps insane.
Yeah, so right here, I'm boosting off of this monster that's a part of sort of just the scenery, and I can use that to boost over the lava and skip a portion of the track. And then we're gonna take an intended shortcut off this trampoline that's the ultimate like noob killer for time trials. The key there is you just jump before you grab the sandwich, and you're good to go basically every time. But yeah, this level is not non-linear, but more so multi-linear. There's a lot of branching paths you can take, and a lot of bonus paths that we're going to be creating for ourselves by jumping over kill planes. That's the biggest theme I can say of this level, is jumping over kill planes that are too small. Anyway, as we were talking about earlier, after this level starts, this is like the entryway into what we consider the mid-game for the run. We're about halfway into the run at this point, and this is where stuff starts to get really insane. So we've got after this level, 2 of the hardest platforming levels in the run. Now That We're Men with Spongebob, and Shell City Dead Ahead with Patrick. And they have some of the craziest strats in the entire run. And that's part of the reason, Jack, I'm so thankful I have you on. This game is really hard to solo commentate, just because there's so much going on. And we'll mention this later, but if like you see anything interesting in this run and you're like, oh, maybe I want to try that, or maybe I want to learn a category, feel free to reach out to one of us or to join our Discord later. We'll plug that towards the end of the run. So we're gonna jump over another kill plane right here. If I time a jump right as I hit the slope. Oh, I got the fast strat! Let's go! That's a 2-frame window. That's so sick! I have hit that twice RTA before, and that saves like 2 seconds. That is so cool. So normally when you hit that, when you jump right before that slope, you just kind of slow down. But if you jump right before you hit the slope, you get a burst of speed. That is so sick. I did not expect to hit that. I kind of just winged it.
Didn't even have to pause buffer it.
Yeah. Unbuffered. So one of the advantages that original Xbox has over 360 is that you can actually frame advance using a technique known as start buffering. And that can be used in a wide variety of situations, such as pause buffering for token warps, or for 1 to 2 frame window strats, depending on the situation and how laggy the level is. Unfortunately, that technique isn't nearly as effective on 360. I just don't have access to an original Xbox quite yet. I think I'll probably eventually pick one up. But as a result, I kind of have to do everything unbuffered, which makes this run a lot harder. I also have a lot of nailiness points. Oh no. Oh my gosh, I played that way too risky.
Wait,
so that's a strat that saves like, yeah, I almost just lost us 40 seconds on a 5-second time save, but I managed to save it somehow, so yeah, that's kind of the story of this run right now. Also, pay attention to this.
Driver,
What's up?
my NVIDIA driver almost crashed. Like I
Oh
almost blue
god.
screened.
No! Right before the part. Oh, that was a rock
Like, my
slide
whole
build too.
screen-
Let's go.
My whole screen just had like random artifacts popping up. Like I was
That's
like, oh,
frightening.
No. But we good. We good.
Alright, now we're going into Now That We're Men. So these later game platforming levels are so long that they're actually split up into 2. So we call this part tunnels and the latter half canyons. So we got 20 tokens, so we got Spongebob, and we're immediately going to upgrade it. This allows us to create an explosive projectile attack that can detonate and make it way easier to hit these switches. It's also very important for a lot of stuff later on in the run, and it's just so overpowered that it's good to have right now. Something I did there while I was talking was jump to that platform early. Not only is that fast, it also skips an enemy intro cutscene, which spawns a really annoying enemy that I would have to deal with. I'm breaking this for marathon safety. I'm a little under man lead right now. So, first strat here in the level. This first half is kind of tame in terms of strats. Okay, don't kill me, thank you. So this is canyon skip. That skips. Oh, and let's grabless in the marathon. Let's go. That is a very small frame window to get without the ledge grab. Each ledge grab with Spongebob costs about a second. So avoiding ledge grabs is nice. Okay, I'm going to build up speed along the slide. Okay, we're gonna have to play it safe. Oh, I'm dead. Wait, no, I'm not dead. Alright. So, ideally you can boost off the slide to kill this guy. But I beefed it just a tad. Anyway, we're gonna jump from this cardboard box to this throat pimple, and that allows us to skip a wall jumping section, which costs roughly 10 seconds. And here comes Now That We're Men, Bungee, if you wouldn't actually mind explaining this one, Jack.
Yeah, this one has like the weird property of being the only bungee challenge that we can actually like break the targets from below. So we can get this one done like a lot quicker than the other bungee challenges. However, this is like probably the hardest one to get a consistent cycle for, since unlike the other ones.
Oh my gosh. That saves a second. That's what a token warp looks like. And that's probably one of the hardest ones in the whole run, so of course. So what you saw there, and it's a little annoying that we had to wait until now until we could kind of explain it, but you saw my token count go up during the pause menu. That means I skipped the token grab animation, so that was incredibly swag for like a 1-second time save. Alright, so we're going to do another bash boost here to skip wall jumping. Wall jumping in general is pretty heckin' slow, so we try to skip it when possible. Nice. You want to try to uppercut the top of that platform there. It's just a tiny little frame saver. And here is the ultimate casual killer. Okay, safety ledge grab. That was actually pretty fast. And we're actually going to nail this guy from a distance. So this is kind of weird, but for whatever reason, if you attack him from a distance like this, it does double damage. So that's a 6-hit fight with upgraded bull, turned into a 3-hit fight with that strat. We don't know why that works. We kind of discovered it and then rediscovered it on accident. But it's really nice. The old strat was you just walk up right next to him, and he can't hit you, so you just wail on him. But that marks the entrance into the gauntlet. I'm going to be quiet here now because this is incredibly difficult. So take it away, Jack.
Yeah, so like right off the bat, Jax is gonna turn around during the load into the level, and like by jumping on this trampoline while it hasn't been activated, you can like barely get enough height to get over to that ledge. It's a really tight jump. But this skips over like a huge section where you have to hit all these paddle wheels to activate the trampolines, and it can be like avoided by just literally jumping on the door to get up there. And this is gonna lead into probably the three of some of like the hardest tricks in the run. First one's gonna be Crisp Skip. It's a double bash boost where Jax is gonna bash boost off the lava and then off the monster.
Too much speed.
Or like using the first one's momentum, and it allows you to get over to that token off in the distance.
Oh, that's a lot of speed. Yeah.
Ooh.
That was a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much speed, depending on your distance, can be too much, and it can cause you to sail right. Oh, that's even more speed. Oh, I still saved it. Let's go. That was even more speed.
Yeah, and then the second one is a pretty similar type of skip, monster skip. Gonna do a bash boost off of the monster, off of his eye, right here. Do a bash, and then jump right up.
Nice
the
first try.
Where the swinging Patrick token is. That was really good.
I'm kind of mad. That one's way harder, and I got that one first try. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so this
FPS.
is probably like one of the hardest tricks in the run. It's a frame perfect jump off of the spike, like using a very tight cartwheel setup. But you got this, Jax.
Late.
Do we have time for a couple donations, by the way?
I need quiet time for this trick. I'm sorry. This is frame perfect,
right.
so give me 1 second, and I'll let you know when we got more time.
Take your time.
Thank you. Early, but if you land right, you can actually land on the blocks without falling into the pit, and you get another shot at it. Okay, I have to fall. This might take me a couple tries. It's still way faster to do this than to complete this casually. You can get this you can get this like 6th or 7th try and break even with casual strats. Come on. Early again. Come on. Early again. Alright, I have to take a death here. Even though I still could have gotten back on the block, if you have 1 health, you'll just die when you try to do the trick, so I just take the death warp. Alright. See if I get this. Early again. Cracking under pressure, but it's fine. It's fine. It's a marathon. It happens.
You got this, Jax.
Oh, that was late. That was close though. Yeah, this is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot harder than Disco Skip because of the angle that you're doing this trick at, and the audio visual cue for when to hit your 1 frame is a lot more obscure. Early again. Yeah, it's very easy to undershoot that frame when you're nervous. I still got plenty of time to attempt this. Come on, yes! There we go. Okay.
There we go.
That took way too many tries. I swear that's still faster.
Ideally, that's if you get that first try, it saves about 1.5 minutes of doing the entire level, because you just skip right to the beginning, or you skip right to the end from the beginning.
Yeah. So, Paulster, I'm gonna apologize in advance because the first half of this next upcoming level is super duper technical. But once we get into some of the extra challenges there, I'll give you some time for donations.
Don't worry about it.
Alright, so Shell City Dead Ahead is probably my favorite level to run through in the entire game, just because of the insanity that the strats you're going to see me do here. Alright, so first off, we're gonna knock this soda can down, and I'm immediately gonna jump to a specific part of that ledge to skip a enemy intro cutscene of a Merv, and this is toilet skip. 1 second. Nice, first try. Okay, so there's like a giant web of invisible walls right there, and doing that lets us skip using the toilet lid as a platform and saves, I would say 15 seconds. Alright, so let's talk about the invisible crate glitch. Now you're gonna see me upgrade the throw in just a second here, and for whatever reason, if you throw a metal crate against a wall up close, it'll explode, but leave sort of a remnant hitbox, and we can abuse that hitbox to do some really funny things here. Alright, so I'm just gonna let the magic happen here. I don't like this. Oh my gosh, that angle works! No way! So landing on that hitbox ejects you straight into the air and lets you skip straight to the end of Cirque du Malaise. Jack, I'll let you pick it up from here.
Yeah, so like right after that, we like lasso onto that ice block, and by getting a damage boost from the enemy, we can actually store the momentum that we get from the resulting like damage, and like by storing that, we can continually jump onto the ice block, going out of bounds and skipping the rest of Cirque du Malaise, which is the challenge where we just got the token from. So this is really solid.
Okay. So now I can breathe because I just did a checkpoint trigger, so that if I die, I would have had to do that. Oh gosh, okay, this is shenanigans. Oh, the Merv's here too. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the death.
Yeah.
So we're trying to backtrack a little bit here because we want to go access that Spongebob challenge that's over there on that platform in the distance. So I'm trying to set up a throw fruit melon right here to cartwheel jump up here, and then we can go cartwheel over here and hit the loading trigger for putting that in our warp selection menu in the pause screen so that we can go access it later. If we did the challenge now, we would just be kind of stuck down there and have to do a puzzle that's kind of dumb and annoying. Alright, so you can just walk under these guys if you're fast, and you really don't have to worry about them all that much. And now we're going into the second half of the level here with a really kind of infamous strat called 3-meter island skip. I'll let you go ahead on this one, Jack.
Yeah, so basically, like, oh, my computer's doing the thing again.
I still hear you.
Alright, cool. So basically, Jax is gonna set up another invisible crate glitch to get enough height to go in the ceiling of the tunnel at the end of the 3-meter challenge, and he'll be able to do cartwheel jumps almost entirely up the slide, and with a couple more.
Let's go,
at
dude.
the end. There we go, with the texture glitch and all.
Yeah, so because of an invisible wall in the ceiling right there, you can't go all the way up the slide with that, so you have to hit a 2-frame window jump to finish the trick. So very happy that I nailed that. Alright, so you're gonna notice some. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's like an alternative to the way that most runners do it, where they just do 2-frame jumps up, slide like all the way, like the traditional 3-meter. But that one's way more. That one's way more swag.
Alright, so now that we grabbed that ledge sort of at the end of that segment, that just barely hits the trigger for unlocking the warp to floating block challenge, which is actually further up that platform, so it saves a little time in movement, and it's just really nice in terms of routing. But this Spongebob level after this corkscrew right here is just going to be mostly fast movement and really tight cycles, but it's just best explained by watching it. So Paulster, now would be a good time to read off some messages if you got anything.
Alright, we have 3 donations here. $10 from Vinfeno, saying, "This SpongeBob run is giving me such a nostalgia trip. Very cool run, Jax. Thanks." We then have $35 from Thorcanum, and they say, "The marathon really sweetens working from home. Good luck to the runners." And $25 from Dr. CPL British again, "Sniping the 7K because I can." Well, you probably didn't snipe it, but you still contributed to us hitting $7,000.
Let's go!
Absolutely amazing and exciting. Let's keep those donations going for such an incredible cause. Thank you all for your support so far. Let's keep the train going, my friends.
Oh, that windmill.
Oh no!
circle's
Oh
very
no!
tight.
Oh
Oh
no!
my god!
Danger! Danger! Okay,
Ah!
we're good. Did you actually see that? I clipped through the thing and it kept me from
Yeah.
dying. That was kind of wild. All right, we're gonna take this Omega save because I don't want to die again.
Red.
Yellow, blue, red. Okay, we're good. And I can go for a token warp here. Let's see if I can make up for that death earlier. Oh, I was late. That's fine. Just a tad bit of spaghetti of this meal of a speedrun. Alright, now we're coming into a floating block. Something interesting that can actually happen here is something called the ice physics glitch, where normally on slippery surfaces, there's a bit of a wind-up animation. Oh, we got ice physics glitch! Holy cow! We don't actually really have a firm grasp of why this happens, but you can actually see him moving a little bit too fast. Holy heck, I almost fell. But sometimes like the wind-up animation for your lack of traction on ice just doesn't function, and you just walk at a normal speed. Now you still can't cartwheel super fast on ice. That's just kind of a standard deal of the thing. But that's gonna let us save a bunch of time here, and there's like different theories on why that works. You know, avoid getting like spat on by a spitter or something like that. I think they're all just conspiracy theories at this point. But that aside, this is probably one of the hardest tokens casually in the game, just because of how tricky the platforming here is. And on top of that, the checkpoints here are super unforgiving, so I'm gonna be a little careful here because you can potentially lose a ton of time here if you fall in the wrong place. But I'm on a really nice cycle here. I'm gonna intentionally take. Oh wow, I managed to. So all of those spikes are. Wait, how did I? Okay, hold on. Danger, danger, danger. Okay, we're good. There we go. All right, so a little bit scuffed, but we're making it work. This part of the game in general is just super duper hard, so I'm trying to stem the bleeding a little bit here. But that conveniently puts us right here. Another kind of funky texture glitch. This pipe should be made of metal, but it's sand. Kind of funny. Anyway, we just clipped through the floor there. Don't worry about it. You can just do that, and the game just can't put up a fight at this point. Right here, what I'm going to do is wait for this button to float down, and then I can cartwheel on top of it to reach here without taking out a bunch of enemies. Now, give me just one. Oh, game, your auto target is trash. Okay, I'm gonna have to go for a slow cycle here. Oh, game, your auto target is trash. Okay, hold on a second. There we go. And then I'm actually gonna wait. So this Merv goes on a set cycle. So I'm gonna wait for him to get out of the way. Oh, he's still auto targeted. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but we can just go and hit the button now that he's out of the way.
Yeah, because if you get like the robot spawner but not the Merv, like the Merv will just like prevent you from even getting to the button without dying. Very unfortunate.
And then you can just snipe the button with a charge throw. Kind of a cool little oversight. Okay, now we're coming into Dennis 1. I'm going to completely shut up because I'm going to be going for a quick kill here in this boss fight. This will look really sick if I get it and really scary if I don't.
Want me to explain or just be quiet?
Go for it.
Alright, so basically, like, we can actually get double hits if we, like, hit these platforms that Dennis is standing on before he actually gets there. So Jaxler's going to try and set up a throw at the platform right there. We hit Dennis, and then the resulting explosion got us another hit, which allows us to do Fast Dennis at ESA. Let's go. Very
Alright,
difficult
and now we're at
cycle, but that
throwing
was really
fruit.
well.
So we're backtracking real quick here just for another token. I'll let Jack kind of cover the movement here.
Yeah, we unlocked this right after we did like the ice physics or like the ice block jump where we used gravity to skip over all of lava room. And so basically Jax is just gonna be waiting on a few cycles to just immediately throw fruit to the pressure plate. Also, you may be wondering why we aren't calling them melons. They are technically throw fruits, and I just kind of find the name funny. So, yeah, basically just gonna.
I made that cycle by the skin of my teeth. Holy cow!
Yeah,
that cycle's incredibly scary.
This is like one of the coolest token frames if you get it.
Oh, we got it. Let's go.
Oh my god, you
Unbuffered.
absolute man.
Let's go.
Only Goofy Goop.
That was sick.
Yo, nice manliness points count. That's kind of cursed.
Wait,
All right, well that's immediately gonna get rectified. Sorry.
Oh god.
Danger, cursed run. I mean, this run's already pretty cursed, but we're having a lot of fun here, and from the looks of it, you all are enjoying, which is the whole purpose of showing this off. But now we're in another driving level with our good friend Goofy Goober. I think this is the only level in the game that, like, is non-canon with the actual events of the movie, which is kind of funny. But this is kind of a dream sequence where we're kind of like unconscious and we're trying to find our way out of this dream world right now. So we gotta chase after Goofy Goober. And the gimmick of this level is if he gets too far away, we'll have lost track of how to get out of here, and it's an instant fail, and we have to start the whole dang thing over. So that can be kind of frustrating, especially for casual players. But we're actually going to be doing something kind of unique here, where we're going to be saving up nitros for lap 2 to do a really cool glitch. But essentially, to sort of preface how this all works, the game uses Goofy Goober's coordinates to sort of determine... Oh, gosh. Yeah, these gumballs are also homing missiles, so I gotta be... Why are you on the shortcut?
Oh
Game, that's
God,
really
that
mean.
was- They're
That doesn't
essentially
happen. Alright, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the gumball machine is essentially the Chuck from Battle, basically exactly the same.
Yeah, it's actually programmed to shoot gumballs where it thinks you're going to end up, and it is incredibly hard to avoid. It's also actually fairly easy to die here if you're not careful, because all the gumballs are super hard to avoid, and we're trying to build up nitros anyway for the strat coming up here. Now I'm gonna bank at least 5 nitros here. More can be nice, but you really don't need many. 5 is actually kind of overkill, and we'll be at 6 at this point. Not 5, okay. I'm gonna be a little careful here. It should be okay. Top right. That will be fine. And I also gotta grab health here so I can go back to top speed. And then,
Sometimes
oh my gosh. All right, that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
I was just saying, sometimes the top right gumball just like falls behind the cone and just like it's no matter what.
Alright, so what we're doing right here is we're unleashing all of our nitros at once to put as much distance between ourselves and Goofy Goober as possible. If we did that successfully, what that did is actually unloaded Goofy Goober from the map entirely. Now, what I was talking about earlier is that the game uses Goofy Goober's position in the map relative to you to determine if you're falling too far behind or not. But when he's unloaded, the game gets really kind of confused and just assumes that the Goofy Goober is just in front of you at all times. And doing that allows us to take shortcuts that would normally cause an autofill, such as this swag strat that loses time, but I don't care. That's rail jump. That loses a second from what I've been told, but I always go for it in marathons because it looks cool. And on top of that, we also couldn't go for the shortcut in the restaurant here because it would have also auto-failed the mission, which is kind of stupid, but we're working with what the game's given us here. I think this setup for the Goofy Goober dealo was actually found by me by accident. We used to do like a really tight and convoluted setup to do it earlier into phase 2, but then I was just like, wait a minute, you can just like run ahead and... The big reason why this deload saves time is that water slide right there. You're intended to go... Oh, danger. Okay, despawn, cool. You're intended to go up that water slide and chase Goofy Goober, and water physics are really bad when you're driving a sandwich, as you might guess. And you bonk around the slide a lot, and if you don't go up there with him enabled in the game, he will autofill the mission in lap 3, and that's really sad. So that's the big reason why that unload saves so much time. Okay. So that's the end of the dream sequence, and now we're waking up in Shell City, as per the movie, but the devs here turn it into a sliding level, which I think is actually pretty clever. But this level is broken up into two sort of parts. There's this bottom part with all these hoses, and a upper level part that you might be able to get glances at that is full of these electrical cables. Now, the goal is to hit 3 faucets at the start here to lower a platform to get to the upper level. What I'm actually going to do is something not really intended. What I'm going to do is go across this yellow tubing on top of the blue tubing in order to set a invisible checkpoint. And then I'm going to hit this faucet right here, double jump back to the green hose right here, and then immediately fall into the water. And then also double jump right here to skip a cutscene. That puts us all the way back over here so that we don't have to take another lap around the tubing to get back up here. That saves a good chunk of time. And then I'm also making sure that I'm at 1 HP here. It looks kind of scary, but everything coming up here is relatively easy to dodge. And we want to be able to death warp for a strat coming up here. This strat that we're actually going to be doing up here to skip a good chunk of this level was actually discovered a couple of months ago by several different runners. I can't remember exactly who. But we're going to start with this blue cable. There's 4 targets we got to hit to bring some lamps down to create a pathway to the end of the level. And we're going to make a bunch of leaps of faith throughout this upper section, so it's a little bit scary. But there's the red target. Right here, I have to be very, 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 very careful. That sandwich right there will magnetize to me from 30 yards away, so I gotta be very, very careful there. And then coming up is another really scary leap of faith once I've broken the yellow cable's target. Oh, this is perfect angle. There we go.
Yeah, like jumping off of a slide kind of like locks your momentum, so that jump to the orange like cable can be like really scary. Because if you're too far to the left, your momentum will just keep going off of the level, and even though you're to the orange, you'll just fall.
And the kill planes are incredibly low in the level too, so it's a really, really big time loss. But yeah, we're coming up towards the end of the level here. I wish we had time to squeeze in like another message, but we've got another boss fight coming up right after here. This is going to be the refight against Dennis on the vague depiction of someone who looks very much like David Hasselhoff, and the distinction is important because they did not get the rights to his name and likeness for this game, so they just used someone who looks very much like him. Alright, Jack, I'll let you cover this fight.
Yeah, so this is kind of similar to like setting up like the first Dennis fight. We're just gonna like repeatedly throw like the upgraded sponge bowl at him. We can actually like get like 2 hits every time he lands, and that just like finishes the fight really quick. Was that 5 hit?
That was a 5 hit. Yeah, that was really good.
Really fast, and then like right after that we can warp right back to
almost did the boss fight again.
Yeah.
All right, so I need quiet. Yeah, I need quiet time for just a second here. I will get yelled at by the entire community if I don't go for this really hard 15-second time save right here. So let me see if I can hit this, or at least attempt it. Oh my gosh. Come on. Not dead yet. Alright, it's dead now. Okay. Almost got it! So, I got the really hard part of that trick, which is really sad. But it's better just to go off for now. So I was attempting a strat called guest jumps that saves about 15 seconds on the tubing here. That lets you just platform up the yellow tubing straight to the blue and lets you get straight up to the second section. So, I'm pretty impressed that I got up as far as I did. But it's wiser at that point just to cut it off to make sure we hit the time trial challenge. We've got a bunch of time here for plugs if you got anything here, Paulister, until the end of this level.
Well, I can talk a bit about something special. I told you about this in the intermission as well while we were just setting up and everything. But there is this sponsor of ours, Wavy the Rocket. And it's a fantastic game with an extra special challenge involved. The way it works is, you go to the Humble Store, where the game is 25% off for the duration of the event. Then you install the game, and then you run through the first 27 stages, and unlocking the last gate after that. Once you do that, you stop it, you count how much time you've done it took you to get that. And if it's sub 1 hour, you can submit that to SRC with video proof, of course, because no vid, no did. And if it's sub 1 hour, then the developers of Wavy the Rocket will donate $10 to charity. For every 20 sub-hour runs, that's going to be an additional $50 donated. So go buy that game and see how well you fare. But yeah, back to you guys.
All right. So we're immediately going to trek into Planktopolis here. We're supposed to have 40 tokens for the guitar upgrade. But I'm going to do a bash into that button and a very tight jump to skip having to get the guitar just yet. This way we can actually apply some of the tokens in this level towards that 40 token milestone. Now here comes one of the hardest tokens in the whole game, Planktopolis Bungee. I'm going to need quiet time for just a second for this quick cycle here. Looks good. Oh, I got really right at, okay, I'm gonna have to improvise here. Wait. Okay, that was a really good backup. Alright, nice.
That backup was quick.
Okay. So that's really, really scary because you can't see where the lightning is if you're bungeeing back up to the top. Alright, anyway, we are out of bounds. You can just get out of bounds right there with a slope jump. And then right here, gonna lag the game a little bit by opening and closing the select. Okay, hold on. There we go. Alright, so you can just clip back in bounds. That's a little bit finicky. And that skips a bunch of platforming all the way over there. So normally you would have to go all the way back around and do some wall jump plats, and it's really slow. But now we're already over here, which is pretty nice. So we're gonna go tackle some hidden tokens over here. There's this one right here that we're not gonna do just yet. We're gonna unlock the warp for it by just walking slightly close to it. And then not only does this let me go for a token warp on this hidden one right here, it's also just slightly faster. Oh, I was like frames late, dude. Oh well. And then coming up is like the hardest token single-handedly in the runs. So
I'd be surprised if this happens RTA, frankly.
let's see what happens. Alright, we got it. Let's go. Let's go. First try.
Yeah, all of Plankton's minions are like too busy in Planktopolis, so they couldn't be bothered to show up for the combat challenge. So they just
so they just threw in a local member of the local wildlife, and you get rewarded for abusing nature. All right. So right here, we're immediately going to go out of bounds, and I'm going to hit it off to Jack here for patching out of bounds here.
Yeah, so like by going in this out of bounds area, we can like clip through really easily right there. We can just cartwheel underneath the level, like under the more bounce please challenge, and by doing those cartwheel jumps that like we've been doing in like 3 meter and 3K, we can just jump straight to the token, thus like unlocking the warp that we can use to finish off the rest of Planktopolis without even like having to do the challenge.
Yeah. That shoots you so far into the level, it's ridiculous. Alright, now right here we have 40 tokens, so we are going to unlock the guitar after a conversation with Mindy about how to be a true hero. And then after upgrading it, I'm going to, weirdly enough, use the bull attack, detonate it, and then warp away. So that's kind of random, but that sets up for a very important glitch coming up here after this. That's what's called bull storage, where we pause while the particle effect from detonating a bull attack is still on screen. And that will do some really weird stuff later, and we'll explain when it becomes more important. But a big thing to keep in mind is I cannot use the bull attack here. I cannot use it at all. And that's very critical, because as a result, I can't attack with the bull, and that makes things a little more difficult here. So I'm gonna do a bash boost similar, or a damage boost similar to a bash boost, but with delayed double jumps instead. This one's not frame perfect, but it's just slightly faster, because we get less horizontal height and more, or less horizontal height. What am I even talking about? Anyway, now we're coming up on probably one of the sickest strats in the entire run called GGC. I'm gonna let Jack take over here for a second.
Yeah, so much like the cruise bubble in battle, the guitar, like the sonic wave guitar in this game, gives us intangibility, and that like basically what that means is that if we get momentum from something like falling off of a platform or getting momentum from a wall jump, if we activate the guitar right before, before interacting with the ground or like a wall, we can lag the game, and the game can't stop us from like clipping out of bounds, like right there. Similar to it's similar to a tech in battle called lag clipping. They work pretty similarly, although there's actually a version difference between Xbox and 360 where oh, let's go.
Oh god, wait. Oh gosh, I took damage. That's dumb. Okay, I have to go for a backup strat here. We're gonna die here. You'll see why in a
Ledge grab
second.
is
That is such a hard ledge grab to get back in bounds. Alright, so I'm gonna do a bash boost to the bottom sort of... Oh, this is bad.
oh god.
Oh, I grabbed the ledge! I think this still works. We'll see. Oh, the game is mean. Okay, I missed the checkpoint
Yeah.
trigger by a tiny amount.
Yeah, it's like that part isn't that like doesn't give you the trigger to that area, but like jumping like right down there.
It
in that
does.
little
It's
where it
really
does.
dumb. Alright, monumental
Going-
bash
Going for monumental bash.
for the people.
Legend.
Alright, I'm actually just gonna die because it's faster to die. I want to show this trick off. It's way too funny. This should work.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, normally you would like have to wait for the like Plankton statue's eye to open up before landing a hit with the guitar. But by doing the bash boost, you can like get all three of them in one go when his eyes open
Yep.
because you're like close enough. Yeah,
Alright,
like,
no,
right
I'm actually
here-
going to safety save here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, like right here, there's a text box from Minnie saying that we need 50 Goofy Goober tokens to unlock the ability to use the paddy wagon again. But Jax, you got the explanation from here.
Okay, hold on a second. So essentially, by warping to Shell City Dead Ahead with bowl storage activated, it causes this really weird memory corruption bug. So while this text box keeps reappearing for this prompt for the 50 token barrier, I actually have a couple of frames of control over the paddy wagon. So I can nitro here as well, and our goal is to fall into a pit at the start of the... Okay. And if I did this right... Nice, okay. So by dying with that memory glitch set up, it tricks the game into spawning a Macho Time challenge and a ring challenge at the same time after we die. So, oh, that's my... Don't worry about that. That is my alarm to get up in the morning. I don't know why it played so late. Anyway, don't worry about that. We are now in Knucklehead without having to get the 50 tokens required in order to access this level casually. So that saves about... Oh, is it still going? I really shouldn't have chucked it. Oh, that's going to be really loud and obnoxious. I'll have time to fix that after I finish this level. I'm sorry. Can you hear that, Jack?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I set so many dang alarms because we started this run at 8:51 in the morning Eastern time, which is my time zone in America land. So I just really wanted to make sure I didn't sleep through the run. Oh, I think it stopped.
Yeah, I
Okay,
set
that's
like
good.
3 alarms because like I'm not very reliable at like waking up when I'm tired. So
Oh, it's going again. Shut up. Shut up, phone.
go for like the frame perfect pause and then just like run over to it.
All right, wait. Where did I chuck it? Oh, I like chucked it behind camera. Hold on. Shut up, phone. Come on. Snooze.
Like it
All
like
right.
got louder.
There we go. You're welcome.
I can say it barely picked up on stream.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
okay,
good. It annoyed
Oh, yeah,
me
probably-
though. So, actually, we could have used that for for the final boss, and I will explain what I'm joking about in just a second. But yeah, this driving level is actually kind of just Sandwich Driving 101, but backwards. So this is probably the last good time we have for any plugs, if you've got anything left. So yeah, we can go ahead and do that now if you want.
Well, I can talk about Save the Children a little bit. And thanks to all of your incredible and generous donations during this run and all other runs of this event, and even between events, wink wink, Tiltify mid-event campaign, wink wink, children living in conflict zones face increased risks due to the current pandemic. Save the Children makes sure that these children remain protected thanks to your support. Around the world, Save the Children is distributing hygiene supplies to ensure communities can wash their hands. They also provide vital health information on how to stay safe and prevent the spread of infection. So you know they're still very much active during these incredibly trying times. So your support can ensure they have what it takes to support the children in the world and just in general. So thank you all for your donations.
All right, final boss fight right here. So, like, right at the start, Jax is gonna use the guitar to activate, or like to start Neptune's attack animation a lot quicker. That's just like to, speed up the phase 1 a little bit. But the premise of this boss fight is that, like, we have to turn the tables on Plankton, because if we turn all of them, like, Neptune will shoot like a light beam that reflects off of Mr. Krabs and then off of all of the tables, and thus stunning him, or giving us the ability to use the Sonic Wave guitar to land a hit. And it has some weird collisions sometimes, but phase 1's probably the hardest because the fire kind of like tracks where you are really well. So what you have to do is you have to like try and hit the like hold left to hit the table, and then like jump back to try and avoid it. But then right after that, you have to input another jump to try and avoid that fire that's about to track you. Very difficult stuff. But that was very solid. Like first cycle.
Your chops are too righteous.
I'm not getting any audio.
No.
Sorry for this, we seem to have lost audio from the streamer. Please stand by.
Please stand by.
Jax, I think your Discord may have like did the thing again.
Le premier qui a dans son programme des caméras dans les tribunaux, mais.
Hi, Jaxler is back, so we have to switch back to English.
Let's switch in English language, guys.
Sorry, Jaxler, you had to hear a bit of French. Okay, go meet that.
Welcome to the French community.
We back?
I currently got the timer paused. Tell me when you want me to unpause it.
If anyone knows what this screen does,
Jax, you alright?
tell me.
Is it just like input device maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
That's my favorite line ever.
Oh, his mic's died.
Oh boy. We will be back shortly.
Sorry.
Oh,
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
I'm so sorry about that. Discord has been having issues. So give me just 1 second. All right.
Okay.
Confirmation
Timer
that you can
restarted.
still hear me. All right. We'll restart in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Sorry about that. Discord's been having issues for me lately. I don't know why. But yeah, that happened. Bit of a scuffed showing, but you know what? That's kind of what we're all about. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm manipulating where he's launching these lasers to sort of basically manip the area of attack so that he can't actually hurt me, which is kind of a cool strat. Alright, so now get your dance emotes and sour pliz ready, because we are moving on into, crap, I can't hear Jax for some reason. That's not good. Thanks,
wasn't
Discord.
saying anything.
Oh, you weren't saying anything. Okay, I saw like your little thing come up. Alright, get your dance emotes ready. So we're on the last bit of the final boss. So same kind of general rules apply. So Jack, if you would go ahead and at our restreamer just so you could let him know that time is coming up soon. So time for the run ends on final hit. This phase can be kind of tricky because I'm also trying to avoid getting hit by the spitter enemies as well. So I gotta be a little careful here, but if you're smart, you can actually manipulate not only the lasers, but where the spitters shoot. And on top of that, during certain events in the fight, such as like when he's getting ready to prep a laser beam, it actually deletes the projectiles out of existence. So that's what I'm kind of using to keep myself safe here. Time will be coming up very shortly. Final hit is coming up soon, so get ready on time. Alright, and time. Alright! We did it! That was a little bit scuffed. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties at the end of the run. But that was the Spongebob SquarePants movie, any %. I don't know what my time would be with the pause. I'm guessing that was like a 1:16, 1:17.
A 1:17:07.
Oh, perfect. Okay, right on the money. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So, yeah, thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. Like we mentioned earlier, this is the first time we've ever gotten to show off a SpongeBob speedrun at ESA before. So this means a lot to us as a community. And on top of that, we haven't had the chance to do marathon runs of this game. So we really, really appreciate the ESA community for giving us a shot. On top of that, we're going to just end off with a couple of shoutouts because we're a little bit ahead of schedule and I'm a sentimental kind of guy. First of all, thank you, Jack, for holding it down on the mic. That was a lot of fun.
No problem.
In terms of community shoutouts, I want to shout out everyone in the TSSM community because the TSSM community is what keeps me coming back to this run. Obviously, the run itself is super sick and super fun, but it's the people that are in this community that make it so worth doing. Special shoutouts again to Britt, Chris, Purple, the current world record holder, Fogey, Sam, I'm gonna miss names, Chatterteeth, everyone else in the community. Thank you so much for just being an awesome friend and an awesome group of people to spend time with.
Like Seth, Tape, and Ed, Proto.
Yeah,
was, like,
there's actually a lot of runners for this game, believe it or not. If you're interested in learning this run, actually, Purple, the world record holder, actually put a full YouTube tutorial for any %. So that covers all different versions of the game, even the ones that can't do Mendy skip. So if you want to get into this game, it's really, really accessible, and there's a lot of beginner strats that you can do. One final shout out, because it would be wrong not to do so. Shout outs to Cole. Cole was a very, very old school runner of this game, who was basically the godfather of the any % route that you just saw. For the longest time, about 4 years or so, we couldn't find anything until maybe like a year ago. And that's just because Cole put so much blood, sweat, and tears into this category. So huge shoutouts to Cole if you're somehow listening to this. But yeah, I don't want to take up too much of anyone else's time, so if you're interested, you can find me on Twitch at Jaxler1, and my Twitter is JaxlerSR. If you want to hear more of Jack's voice, his Twitch is just Jackalaka. So, yeah, and again, thank you so much, everyone here in the ESA scene. Thank you so much for having us, and we're going to head out. Thank you so much for having us.
No worries, that was a super entertaining run. Coming up next, it's Pokemon Rumble. Again, the category has been changed to Bidoof %, so that's going to be really exciting. So stick around and keep donating for Save the Children. We're going to do a quick intermission. We'll be right back.
See you, folks.
Thanks for having us.